maybe there's something we can do for you guys over there. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I started this relationship with George. My students were coming to me and saying, my studio is not quite ready yet. And, what do I need to do as far as mic selection or, soundproofing and get my sound floor where it needs to be. And I started sending, George, some students here and there, and it's grown and it's growing and growing because these students realize, you get one chance to make a first impression with your studio, and they really need to have all their ducks in a row. So you help with that. And the neat thing is, I've gotten plenty of jobs off the effect racks that you've set up for me for radio imaging and for TV affiliate, and I know that they work. So we would kind of replicate that for the students, and it's a phenomenal service. I don't know of anybody that really does what you're doing. So it's phenomenal service.
I've stumbled on a few of us that are doing, setups for people, but I think the key is knowing really what it's supposed to sound like for each of these different unique genres, right? Yep. And like, for example, the kind of processing that we do, is it differ in any real dramatic way, do you think, between doing a thing for an imaging job versus, a different type of voiceover?
Yeah, and it's what you did specifically. I noticed with me personally, speaking personally, I was hearing some problems with the T. I was saying, local 12, and it was airing on the station, and it was airing on the open, the introduction to the newscast. So they were playing this over and over and over, and I was in full panic mode. And, I reached out to you, and this is a great example. One of the things that you were able to really do to fix that was with compression. We tweaked it and added a certain amount of compression, which took that away. And that's a great example. Every student, as you know, is different with their vocal range and their vocal tone. Yeah. So you tweak this, and it's, customized effect racks and, audio interface tweaking as well with the channel strips to really get students where they need to be as far as the awesome sound that's going to book work. So it's kind of how it works. Yeah.
You want to sound, this is a word coined by a great demo producer I know, Chuck Duran, and he said,
I work with him.
It needs to sound, it needs to sound familiar. So it's like, it is like that, what it's supposed to sound like. It's knowing like what if we do this to this audio with this processing, is it going to fit in to the genre of what you're listening to? Would the listener on the other end hear that voice with that processing, and it's going to go one way. Either they're going to just like it, right? And they're not going to know why, maybe, but they like it. It just feels right. Or if it's not done right, they're going to go, can you turn off all that processing? Or they're going to go, are you using compression?
That's right.
Or something like that, because it's too much or too overcooked or too overbaked. Yeah. So that's something that I have spent over now 15 years, focusing on that and trying to figure that out. And it's hard because you can't really know what the casting person or the engineer producer on the other end wants. And sometimes they ask for raw, right? And then you send them raw audio, and then you hear your voice in the finished mix. You hear it, like you said, you hear it on television. Yeah. And you're going, wait a minute. I thought someone was gonna engineer this thing and massage it, and then sometimes that doesn't happen, right? So we have to like pick up the slack on our end. So that's what's so key, right? That's what we're doing, and that's what I can do really with anybody. And if I got audio from you guys, because Aaron said go work with me, and it's not where it needs to be yet for the processing to be effective, well, I'll tell you. Yeah. Like if you get a processing rack, it could be a rack if it's Adobe Audition, it could be a stack if it's Twisted Wave, it could be a macro for Audacity, effects chains and Reaper, on and on, right? Yep. Once we build that, you'll get everything you need to apply that to your software with the instructions to understand what to use it for and how, and it's going to fit the needs of that project, and you'll be able to reuse that over and over.
Yeah. This is not a paid testimonial, but I will tell you, George has actually worked with students that, had no idea, how to do any of this and how to sound where they need to sound. And now as a result, they're booking. They've actually signed, contracts with television stations to be the voice of an affiliate, and they're using this now in the real world. You set it up more for the demo when they were in that stage, and now they're using it in the real world, dynamic, and it just it's phenomenal stuff. And I like that it's customized. That's really what we look for.
Yeah.
That's the key. Absolutely. Yep.
The differences from one to the next aren't going to be that different. Like I'll use templates that I have built to save a lot of time, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes they won't need a lot of tweaking, but it's just the nuance of it. It's like watching a great painter, just the amount of paint to stroke just the right.
Yep.
And you can watch it and follow along, and yours may resemble something, but it's not quite there because of the years of practice. And that is what it is. It shouldn't be difficult, but it does take a lot of time to train the ear.
Takes a good ear.
And if you send me the audio and there's something wrong with it to begin with, I'm going, well, I could try to fix that with processing, but it'd be better if the mic placement was better or the room acoustics were better. And I'll tell you, I'll give you a note. It's called a sound check. I'll give you a sound check if the audio at the very beginning isn't where it needs to be. I won't proceed. I will send it back. I'll say, here's what I'd recommend you do real quick. Let's try to fix that first, and then we'll get into the processing. So I won't try to fix up something that could be fixed with some really simple adjustments in your studio.
Yeah. How did you learn all this, man? You tell me about your background. How did you develop the ear, as we say?
I don't know. I mean, it is like, it's cheesy, but it's the 10,000 hours, mastery thing. Yeah. It's just been doing it a really, really long time. And I've been lucky that, thousands of voice actors have trusted me to do this, and some pretty prominent ones in the beginning. Like I was very lucky to work with some big people in the world of promo, like Melissa Disney was doing trailers when I started with her in 2005. Rick Robles, Rick Wasserman, Howard Parker, Bill Ratner, Joe Cipriano, Scott Rummel, David Kay, and Aaron Bradley.
Yeah. And don't forget, this is the rumor anyhow, Don LaFontaine at one point.
And it was Don LaFontaine.
There you go.
He was one of my top 10 or one of my first 10 clients, really.
That's amazing.
And
that's amazing.
I didn't even know who the man was when my engineer buddy said, "Can you go over to Don's? We're getting a buzz off of his mic. It's just buzzing all the time, and it's driving us nuts." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll go over there." And when I realized who I was working with.
Yeah.
And when he said, they built this thing for me, and then they disappear. I don't know who can help me anymore. So can you help me fix this thing up and bring it up to the latest tech, because it was like 10 years old, right? And I was like, yeah. And then I had a light bulb, and I was like, you're kidding me. Somebody comes and installs this elaborate studio and then just disappears into the mist, doesn't provide any support, isn't available. It's nuts. And that's when I realized to drop everything else. I was dabbling in radio, and I was dabbling in sound for film. I was trying all this. I dropped everything. I was like, this is what I'm focusing on.
Wow.
And that's what it's been ever since. So it's just hearing tons of files, talking to, I had a show, the Voiceover Body Shop, which before that was eWabs.
Yeah.
And that was really useful because I got to talk to and engage with hundreds and hundreds of coaches and directors and actors, so I could better understand what was going on and be in the, contextually know what's going on.
Yeah.
Other than just me sitting in my studio or my bedroom or wherever I am, just, going, does this sound right to me?
Yeah. And you do the studio builds as well. In fact, I think, did you do the Don LaFontaine Voiceover Lab? You kind of collaborated there. And how many studios do you figure you've actually done the builds for?
Well, I will say that I definitely am like the designer of the studios.
Yeah, right.
I'm not building them myself.
Right.
But the design to studios, I don't have a proper tally. It's probably between 75 and 100 different studios.
That's amazing.
And that's not including just the more of the simpler like acoustic tuning stuff.
Yeah, that's
because you can have me design a studio that you're going to build custom.
Sure.
You can have me design the acoustics of the room that you already have, or you can have me design the acoustics for the booth you bought, which you thought was going to sound amazing because it's a booth, and then it didn't.
It didn't.
Right. And I can help with that too. And those are all things that I do on our website, because I think the acoustic side of it is still is definitely more of the black art.
Sure.
And that's the key, is I help them with all those things. Yeah.
And we set up an affiliate link for your website, so students students of mine that are watching this can actually go to this affiliate link, and they get an automatic discount if they were to book your services. Tell me about that.
Yeah, the affiliate link. It's not quite as automatic as I would like it to be, but if you do use the coupon code that is on the landing page, so we've got that special landing page just for Aaron. It's georgethe.tech/AB.
Right.
If you use that page as a student of Aaron's, a friend of Aaron's, or anybody who sees this, really, then you'll see a coupon code. It says, please use this coupon code when you check out. And that will give you a discount on anything that you purchase through that landing page, really anything you purchase on the website. So on the landing page, there'll be a selection of a few common services that might be useful to you to help you get started. Seed the conversation, so to speak.
Sure.
But there are menus with a lot more options of services. So if you're looking for something that's not on the landing page, don't worry. Just click on the menu bar and you'll see there's a tremendous amount of options, and also a ton of free resources as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot on there that's free.
And I always direct them to the consult. That's probably the number one thing they initially book is a consult with you. That's worked wonders for
most people that have never worked with me and really are kind of getting started will benefit the most from like a 30-minute consult.
Yep.
You can do longer, but really within 30 minutes, I pretty much have sussed out really where you are, what you need, what your steps are to do next. And then if we want to do another session later on when you get equipment or you get something new and you need a little guidance, then we can do another session later. But usually not an hour. A half hour we get a lot done in a half hour.